Hey guys, what is good? Derek here from Bomb Sucks with another day of Bomb Bites where we feast upon the words of Christ, one bite at a time. So I want to remind you, yesterday I showed you Elder Holland's clip from Lessons from Liberty. Let me reiterate one thing that he said. He said, you can have sacred, revelatory, profoundly instructive experiences with the Lord in the most miserable experiences of your life, in the worst settings, while enduring the most painful injustices, when facing the most insurmountable odds and opposition you have ever faced, in one way or another, great or small, dramatic or incidental. Every one of us is going to spend a little time in Liberty Jail, spiritually speaking. So what I wanted to do with you today is a little thing, just simply put, Lessons from Liberty Jail. And I want to take some phrases from sections 121 and 122 from the prophet Joseph and also from the Lord Jesus Christ, and how they can help us when we are going through our own little Liberty Jails in our lives. And I want you to think for a moment of maybe a trial or a difficulty that you currently are going through. And keep that in mind as we're going through this today. So now our initial reaction to trials comes in the first 6 verses here of section 121, where we find ourselves saying things like, O God, where art thou? Where is the pavilion that covereth thy hiding place? How long shall thy hand be stayed? Verse 3, how long shall they, maybe it's other people, part of your trials, other people are struggling. Why are they going through all of these things? Verse 5, we even get that feeling of kind of vengeance and retribution. Let thy anger be kindled against our enemies. Let thy sword avenge us of our wrongs. Remember thy suffering saints, our God, and thy saints will rejoice in thy name forever. It almost becomes kind of a quid pro quo type of thing where you do this, we'll do this. You remember me, I will remember you. So I think some of our initial thoughts are just, why are we going through this? How long are we going to go through this? That's normal if you are feeling that. Joseph felt it as well. But what's interesting is you start getting into lessons from liberty. Now, to set that up, one of my favorite quotes from Neil A. Maxwell, he said, when we are perplexed and distressed, and I would submit to you that that's exactly what Joseph and the saints were, explanatory help is not always forthcoming, but compensatory help will be. Now, the word compensatory means to compensate or to make up for as for loss, lack, or injury, which those 3 things, loss, lack, or injury, is exactly what the saints were going through. So, as Elder Holland mentioned yesterday, a quote from B.H. Roberts, who was a great historian in the church, he said sections 121, 122, and 123 made Liberty Jail for a time a center for instruction. The eyes of the saints were turned to it as the place whence would come encouragement and counsel, the word of the Lord. It was more temple than prison, so long as the prophet was there. And it was a place of meditation and prayer. Joseph Smith sought God in this rude prison and found him. So I want to share with you what I would say are 10 compensatory helps in times of adversity and trial. And I'm just going to roll through these, and then I'm going to let you do some interesting things with these. So first of all, the phrase, my son. Here's the Lord, my son. Peace be unto thy soul. Thine adversity and thine afflictions shall be but a small moment. If thou endure it well, God shall exalt thee on high. Thou shalt triumph over all thy foes. Thy friends do stand by thee. Thou art not yet as Job. That's an interesting one. I've heard people say that thou art not yet as Job is kind of an interesting thing. If you read in the Old Testament sometimes, there are people who will suggest that Job is a fictional character. So this right here, here's the Lord flat out saying, look, you're not yet as Job. Job was a real guy. That'd be like comparing your trials to Harry Potter. You're like, you thought you had it hard. Harry Potter had, yeah. God's not going to compare your trials to a fictional character. Job is very much a real individual. Here's number 7. Thy God shall stand by thee forever and ever. I love that phrase. All these things, you want to read some interesting things, you go to verses 5 through 7 in section 122, and the Lord goes through and hits all kinds of stuff. If you're called to do this, if you're going to go through this, if you ever go through this, some of which Joseph Smith went through, all of which the Lord Jesus Christ went through. Number 9, the Son of Man hath descended below them all. Art thou greater than he? And I don't think that's a manipulative thing from the Lord. In fact, I know it's not. It's him just putting things into perspective for Joseph. And then number 10, hold on thy way, thy days are known. So I've got a Google Doc, and you can do whatever you want with this. You can ignore it or you can enjoy it. Totally up to you. It's just Writing can be very therapeutic as you're going through a particular trial. And so I've taken these 10 little compensatory helps in times of trial and adversity, and I've put a question with each one of these. And again, you can answer, you don't need to share them. These are personal. You can do them as an individual. You could do them as a family, totally up to you. But how you do this doesn't really matter. But there's some good things that I think could come from it if you do it. So in the comments, I've got the link to the Google Doc, and you can go ahead and access that. But what it does is I just say choose just a few of these, or you can do all of them, totally up to you. Take a few minutes and answer the questions that corresponds to them. You can do it on paper, you can do it in a journal, you can do them all of them, doesn't matter. What have you learned about dealing with adversity the Lord's way from these sections? And what advice would you give to someone currently dealing with a difficult trial? Maybe that could be something that can put in the comments. It's just, what have you learned that could help someone else out? And we can turn this into trial rehab for a minute and help one another out. Sometimes the best sections are read by the individual, and I just kind of present them. I know I've done that before with certain chapters and sections of scriptures where me trying to expound on them doesn't always work out, but having you go through and read them may be one of the better experiences with that. So anyway, take some time to do that, and I promise it'll be a good experience for you. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and thank you so much for sharing these messages. We really appreciate it. Make sure you go check out our amazing gospel-themed socks at bombsocks.com. Take care, guys. Have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.